Alright, August. Let's have a chat. I actually can't remember how far in I have you on chapter 2. Like an angel.
I was still a kid when Dame started turning my head.
I think if I remember correctly, your first bit of it stuff was that your father was abusive, I think.
Long gams, gleam in her eye, all dolled up, and I was done. I didn't know how to talk to a dame. I was a boy, play acting as a man.
I see.
But when I indulged in a little liquid courage, I was off to the races. So I miss them blood-pounding adventure stories. You got any like that?
I do, but you're gonna get... the town where the grifters are ridden out of town on a rail, or no. Let's go with... Actually, no. Let's go with the singer who never outraced his demon twin's reputation.
My
Damn it!
blood's pumping. That's the kind I used to like as a boy. First time I stepped out with Louisa, I put on my Sunday clothes, bought carnations. Got so nervous I gave the corsage to her daddy instead of her. He never let me forget it. But you tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen on the roads out here? Anything good and exciting?
Good and exciting. La Llorona, the faceless woman who roamed the country looking for children to drown. That's scary.
When you've seen enough real horror in this world, cheap tales don't do it no more. Change? I knew I had to change. I thought finding me a doll would make me a man. But no, I was still a kid. I'd have to grow up on my own. But anyhow, you got any of them sad stories? Anything lonesome or tragic?
Maybe. But I'm gonna tell you instead a story of the town where people's gibberish symbols pox people's bodies.
I seen things 100 times worse than that, I can tell you. Don't know how me and Louisa came together. We couldn't have known where we'd end up. Guess we had faith. Her and me and her. But you know, the books I miss the most is the hopeful ones. Got any of those?
No hopeful for you. I shall tell you the story of the devil's killing smile.
Well, fear is cheap. I used to read the scary ones, so I know. Choice. My mama wanted me to choose a good Christian woman. But it was my heart that chose Louisa. So I miss them blood-pounding adventure stories. You got any like that?
Possibly, but instead I shall give you the dog who could bring you anything you wished. No, that's not. The man who ate only molasses. That's a funny story, so you don't get to deal with that.
My daddy said those stories aren't like the world really is. He was right. Joy? Well, seeing a doll smile when she sees you? Not much better than that. Especially if that doll's Louisa. Well, here's the sun. Gotta get going soon.
I was going to Idaho now.
All this talk makes me think about my girl. Before our daughter, I never knew what it was like to have a life depend on mine. But once I held my baby girl in my arms, I finally learned my daddy's lesson. What about you? What lessons do you learn as your life goes twisting along?
Who can say at this point? But the tale grew in the telling. Excellent. Oh, does this mean we got a chapter? Yep, chapter 3. So I actually didn't get to learn as much as I wanted to from him. Damn. Oh well. Let's see. Story about the town speckled with cosmic secrets written in a language only they could read. The story about the town with gibberish symbols pox people's bodies. Yep. So that story grew with the telling and became nice and big. Whoops. There we go. There we go. Alright, so he is down that way now. Cross the river. See, that way leads up towards... Yeah, so let's cross here. I think that's him over yonder. Over yonder and to the southeast. So if I keep following this for right now, I'll have to cross at this crossing over here. So let's keep going. I recently got a new laptop stand and a thing, so I'm getting a little used to how everything looks now. It is nice. Yeah, I gotta go up this way. There we go. Do this crossing. I don't think I've ever heard the song that's playing right now in the background. Played when I was talking with August, so it's probably related to him in many ways. All right, and then down south a ways. He is very far away. It is quite annoying. Story upgrade first. The story about the molasses that multiplied to feed a whole town. The story about the man who ate only molasses, but exaggerated to hell and high water. As it should be. It's a funny story. Alright, he's down in Boise. Yo, August, you're a mariner. You're a maritime person. You should not be this far inland, my friend. Story time. Gulshay, the story about the twin singers, one with dark power and one who gifts the power to others. Realize almost instantly that he's telling a new version of the tale of the singer who never outraced his demon twin's reputation, but with new, exciting, over-the-top details. Tells it well. Good on him. I actually don't know what stories he has heard yet, so let's just keep going. The vulgar ghost trapped in the bottle. The speckled secrets of the cosmic town. The beautiful interracial wedding that's unaffected by evil. Are there any other new ones in here? Farmers who hid their murdering son from the law. Can I trade this one in? Trade this one in for the cart horse faster than a steam train. Fortune teller for the red creature with black fur. New Jericho for the man who heard his death approaching, and the man whose song can move mountains. For the fisherman with his catching gulls. Devil's Kill and Smile for... Are there any new ones? The sugarcane farmer. Yep. Anarchist gang for Rising Workers Movement. Legend of Casey Jones for Joe the Pullman Porter. And any other ones that I don't have yet? Twins Adventure. So that's all done for that one. Triplets for the pig farmers. La Llorona for the jilted witch of the bayou. Haven't heard that story in a while. Boogeyman and his insatiable appetite for the most outrageous dreams. The hotel haunted by the ghosts of twin toddlers. Labor war all across the west coast. The bull king the eccentric banker who went to work each day dressed as a clown. And the twin singers for the bull king. Musician trapped for... Honestly, none of these work for that. Yes, I'm going to tell August's tale to himself. No, that doesn't work. That does not work. Let's go with the cursed violin. And the sad tales. Let's see. Franklin's tale. Let's go with the bull whose blood could cure any sickness. There we go. All right, have at thee. Yo, Colito, what's up? Just gathering some stories. Gonna be a short one, though. Chapter 3. Can't win but lose.
I had me a wife, a baby girl, but no livelihood. I tried my hand at my daddy's factory work, but I wasn't up to snuff. For every bottle I filled on the line, I emptied my soul.
And emptied into my gullet, probably.
When the war started, I figured I'd fight for my country. But they wouldn't take me on account of all those years reading. Couldn't see well enough.
Aw.
But the Merchant Marine, they took me as I am. And then, I had everything. But you know, the books I miss the most is the hopeful ones. Got any of those?
Hopeful ones, you say? Not going to give you one of those. I'm going to give you the girls who search for... No, that is kind of hopeful. Let's go for a scary story. The bull, the man who was possessed by the ghost of his dead soldier brother. How you doing, Coolito?
Come on, that can't be true. Sorrow ain't like that. Sadness. Well, I'm never gonna see a new shore again. And that's about all I got to say about that. So I miss them blood-pounding adventure stories. You got any?
Blood-pounding adventure stories. The jilted witch of the bayou and her cruelty towards men.
When you've seen enough real horror in this world, cheap tales don't do it no more.
You hurt your wrist a bit. Oh, that's unfortunate. Guess you'll have to take a little bit of a rest from stuff. A fly flew straight into my eye and I nearly crashed my bike. Ooh. That's not good. Oof. I'm glad you're all right, my dude.
Remembering, the torpedo took us all by surprise. Deafening clash of metal pierced the quiet. A flash of light. And then the screams.
Yeah. Damn, that must have been a really big fly, my dude.
Oh, those screams. That ship was shot right out from under me. Anyhow, you got any stories that end looking up? I miss those hopeful ones.
Hopeful ones? I don't got no hopeful ones for you, my sir. That's Joy. The red creature with black fur in Detroit that demanded respect from travelers. Yeah, it didn't bounce off either. Oh, geez.
I seen things 100 times worse than that, I can tell you. My fate? I was supposed to be in the cargo hold. Crate of munitions got loose, but I was running late. If I'd been there when the ship got hit, done what I was told, I'd be dead for sure. Maybe it'd be better. But you tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen on the roads out here? Anything good and exciting?
Good and exciting, eh? For this story, I shall give you the story of the ghosts who haunt the Alamo. Please don't be enough. Please don't be... Good.
Sounds like one of the bad, soppy ones I used to read. My wishes. I don't know if they came true. When I read those rags as a kid, imagine seeing distant shores. That was nothing compared to the real deal. I went further and saw more than any of those writers ever did. So I miss them blood-pounding adventure stories. You got any like that?
Possibly. But I'm instead going to tell you the story of the man who saw... no. Justice. The man who heard his death approaching.
World ain't always like that, you know. My future. The moment our ship got hit, everything went black. I opened my eyes and nothing changed. I could hardly see. My future ended right there. Ah, here's the sun. Time for me to get going. If you ever find yourself over this way, ask around for me. I'll have more stories for you about the sea. And the brothers I left behind out there. They're always on my mind. Always will be.
So we're now getting into his PTSD from the... Okay, I need to... What's the sound? Let's get the sound. Let's get the sound down just a bit. There we go. But so we're getting into his PTSD and his trauma from being hit by a torpedo during the war. Got it. Let's see. Tells the story about the witch in the bayou who transforms men into alligators for a song. It's clearly the story of the jilted witch of the bayou and her cruelty towards men. Alright, so next up we go... Boise's that way, so yeah, over here. Oh, another story. Aha. This man reads the newspaper with barely contained horror. His grimace says, whoa. The story about the Nain Rouge of Detroit. It's the story of the red creature with black fur in Detroit. What's the Nain Rouge? I'm sure that's something. Looking that up. I'm gonna look that up real quick. The Nain Rouge. Nain Rouge. The Demon of the Strait is a legendary creature of Detroit, Michigan, whose appearance is said to presage misfortune. Origins of the French settlement in Detroit are proposed as some sort of like hobgoblin-type creature. Interesting. Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. All made up. Even though I experienced it. Alright, let's go. Almost there. Alright, August. Let's keep going. You have much more stories to tell me. Oh. Can't win for losing.
For a moment, when I saw you coming close to the fire, I thought I saw a friend I made in port years ago, far away from here. Haven't seen him in years. Never will again. So I miss them blood-pounded
Adventure stories, yeah. But I'm instead going to tell you the story about the eccentric banker who went to work each day dressed as a clown.
Nothing's funny just 'cause you call it a joke. Authority? You pegged me right. Never liked being told what to do. Not the way my father dished it. But when it comes to the sea, you do what you're told. For yourself and your brothers. But you know, the books I miss the most is the hopeful ones. Got any of those?
Hopeful books. How about instead I tell you the story of the dust creature that blew in on a storm and haunts an old school.
Sounds like one of the bad soppy ones I used to read. All I got is memories. The seawater splashing against my face. A new sky, sun setting over a new port. Just a few sips, and I'm back on my ship like the past ain't dead and gone. Anyhow, you got any stories that end looking up? I miss those hopeful ones.
Missing the hopeful ones, are you? Well, unfortunately, I shall instead be telling you about the pig farmers haunted by Meemaw.
I ain't getting the joke. I had a family, but out on the sea, I got another. One I hadn't reckoned on. Good men all. Crying shame what happened. To all of us. But you tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen on the roads out here? Anything good and exciting?
Good and exciting? Possibly, but I'm going to tell you a story of love. The girls who search, the story of the no. Actually, no, the violin con is one about love. But please don't be a exciting one.
I ain't getting the joke.
Oh, it's a joke, okay.
I loved my family. But when I entered the service, I fell in love with the sea and my brothers. You think your heart can't make room enough, but it grows bigger than you can imagine to fit them all in. But you know, the books I miss the most is the hopeful ones. Got any of those?
Hopeful ones? No, but I can tell you the story of the wild man of the forest. Need to get that one upgraded a little bit.
I seen things 100 times worse than that, I can tell you. My home. When I was a kid, home was my daddy on his chair and mama listening to the radio. But for a while there, the sea was my home. As welcome as a worn leather seat. Its call sweeter than any music. Ah, here's the sun. Time for me to get going. If you ever find yourself over this way, ask around for me.
Will do, dude. Will do. I'm just stalking you around the Pacific Northwest right now.
I'll have more stories for you about the sea.
Kind of just stalking him, if you think about it. Which way is he going this time? He went south Idaho. He just stays in this area now. Weird. There we go. Let's see. Story stumbles quickly through a tale about the northwestern Sasquatch. Confusing himself now again. It's the twisted version of the wild man of the forest. I kind of figured this guy would turn into Sasquatch. I think. But I digress. And I progress. There we go. And I gather. Found the old man. The story of the man... launches to a story about the man whose death bones rattled. It's the story of the man who heard his death approaching, but wilder and stranger. Yep. Always wilder and stranger. Especially for ones of such humble origins. Then we go over here. Talk with this one. Break time. They listened rapidly to a story about the con man, his plot, his ghost, and his lover. Realized it's the story of the violin con, but heavily embellished. Alright, good. I got that one upgraded. Alright, August. I think this is the last part of Chapter 3 that I'm going to be getting from you, right? Then I just gotta focus on Chapter 4.
For a moment, when I saw you coming close to the fire, I haven't seen... So I miss them blood-pounding adventure stories. You got any like that?
Blood-pounded adventure stories. How about the story of the rising workers' movement in New York?
World ain't always like that, you know. Freedom's tricky on the sea. As mariners, we never had a choice where we went or what we did. But on the sea, I never felt as free from my daddy's eyes or as far away from those fields outside of town. But you tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen on the roads out here? Anything good and exciting?
Let's see. How about the hotel haunted by the ghosts of twin toddlers?
I seen things 100 times worse than that, I can tell you. Bondage. You take an oath when you become a mariner, binding you to fulfill your duty to the United States. But that bond don't go both ways. But you tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen on the roads out here? Anything good and exciting?
Can't really say for sure. How about the story of the beautiful interracial wedding that's unaffected by evil?
My daddy said those stories aren't like the world really is. Trust. Thought I trusted Louisa with my heart, with my life. But in too many ports, I learned it's hard to believe in someone who ain't there. Anyhow, you got any stories that end looking up? I miss those hopeful ones.
He's definitely a character, just from him saying that repeatedly, that who's looking for hope. There's a lot of the characters I've come across in this, I've noticed, kind of go into being kind of ambivalent and wanting to go with the flow, being very hopeful of a brighter tomorrow and future, or being very pessimistic about the course that the United States is taking. All of them valid in their own ways, all of them equally interesting in their perspectives. Some more than others, especially the ones that are like from the groups that were not treated well by the United States. Those ones are definitely really interesting to think about. Although I'm really sad that there's none of these guys is it's like, I mean, it's a very diverse and interesting cast. I'm just kind of sad that there's no Asian American characters to talk to, because I think there's some interesting stories that could have gone in through there. From like, even from like the 1800s down to like the early 1900s and all that stuff. It's really interesting time for the diasporas from Asia. Sadness, joy, the vulgar ghost trapped in a bottle.
I ain't getting the joke. Joy. You ever been in a ship rolling on the open seas? The crash of the waves, the captain yelling orders. Those stories couldn't hold a candle to the thrill of really being in the thick of it.
Into the thick of it.
But you know, the books I miss the most is the hopeful ones. Got any of those?
Let's see. Do I? No, but I will tell you about the story of the sugarcane farmer who took criminals from the jails and worked them in his fields until they died.
When you seen enough, I made my choice. Had a daughter, wife at home. Mama said I should have stayed with them instead of shipping out. I tell you, I'd have ended up in this gutter a lot sooner if I hadn't.
Oh, interesting.
Well, time to get going. I'm off this way when the sun rises. But talking with you brings it back. The good and the bad. And the bad's what sticks. I died the day my ship was sunk. I felt alive on that sea with my brothers. And knowing I was doing right by my family, my country. Almost wish I never felt that way. Never knew what I'm missing now. Maybe I'll find it here at the bottom of this bottle.
Oh, come... Oh. Poor dude. August's Tale. Chapter 4 available. What's his chapter 4 called? Where is he? Fly Away. The Merchant Marine. See, he works his way through a story, long as there's a story about the haint who craves pig's feet. It's the story of the pig farmers haunted by Mima. Alright. Back north I go. Back north to Spokane, Washington. Which I've always wanted to check out. I've heard it's really cool. I've only really been... in Washington... I used to live in Washington when I was in elementary school, so I didn't really have much control over where we went, but when I lived in Washington, like, the furthest east of the Rockies we ever went was the towns of Leavenworth and Wenatchee for, like, skiing and stuff. So I never got to see Spokane. I also lived in, like, the wetter areas of Washington, you know, like near Seattle. So I heard Spokane's supposed to be a lot drier. Let's see. Launches a wild story about future New York, a worker's paradise. It's the story of the rising workers' movement in New York. Quite interesting, yes. That one's fully upgraded. Oh, before I get there, let's change out some of these. Again. Tiger Cub. Am I running out? Am I running out of... Oh, I'm almost out of stories. Yeah, so we'll do Tiger Cub. Interracial couple switched out for the horse and rider made of pure shadow. Ghosts who haunted the Alamo for the workers who sing and pick cotton without pausing day and night. The con man for the cat who ate an entire pony who was his lover. That story still is bizarre to me. The Nine Rouge of Detroit, which I want to look that up now because that sounds interesting. WPA worker who gave us pay to orphans. Man whose death bones rattled for the man whose song could move mountains. No, the infamous... The taxi, which shows its riders the future. There we go. Sugarcane farmers for the wish-granting devil that haunts the streets of the inner city. New York, a worker's paradise for the devil collecting his debt. The strange shapes Americans will take in the future. I don't think I did this one. But I think these ones are fair game now still. The haint who craves pig's feet for the haunted mill operated by ghosts. Ghosts. You for the woodcutter with incredible strength in California. That's the Paul Bunyan story, which I apparently haven't started yet at all. I also have the demonic chicken. We'll get to the demonic chicken at some point. The Bayou Witch for the 60 unidentified corpses buried together in one cemetery. The hotel haunted by the ghosts of twins. The water that turned into wine for the thirsty pickers. Was it water that tasted like wine? Because that's what I'm looking for in the end. The eccentric banker for the terrible king of bulls, exacting revenge on those who imprison his people. The dust creature for the farm where it was always dark and it grew mushrooms and nightshade. And finally, I don't think I actually had any of these go on. All right. Let's keep going. All right, August. Let's see what your true self looks like. Definitely gonna be. He's a mariner, so I'm guessing there's gonna be a lot of maritime elements to it. Maybe an albatross. Albatrosses are usually, and he's talking about like all the bad stuff in his life. So I wouldn't put it past him that there's like an albatross around him. Maybe around his neck too, like the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which I remember reading in college, but I. Don't ask me to quote from it. And poetry doesn't stick with me, unfortunately, very well. Unless it's Tolkien. Tolkien's poetry, for some reason, sticks pretty well with me. Interesting. Reads up the story about San Antonio, where wailing ghosts pour out of the Alamo every night to cry in the streets. It's the story of the ghosts who haunt the Alamo. It's all made up. All right. What do you got for me, August? Fly away. True form is...
Krauts that sunk my ship took most of my side in the blast.
Ooh, that's not good too. So the corpses of his dead crew are water dragging him under. He's tied down, and there's an albatross. Right, there's an albatross, so I was right about that. So yeah, like, that explosion on that ship took a lot from him.
Came home, couldn't work, couldn't read.
Oh, that's miserable.
But I could drink. That I could do. Easy as falling off a log. And I could lose my family. I could do that too. But you tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen on the roads out here? Anything good and exciting?
I'll tell you the story of the Bushwhacker's Vengeful Ghost.
Death. I'm not the man who became a mariner. Yeah, he died on that ship. But this ain't the country I believed in neither.
Okay, so he's very much on the negative side.
It marches on no matter who gets left behind.
Kind of similar with Mason's story, too. Mason was a left-behind veteran of World War I, and he's an amputee, and he basically just feels left behind, and he has all that trauma from also watching his brother die, too.
So I miss them blood-pounding adventure stories. You got any like that?
Sadness. The bull whose blood could cure any sickness.
My daddy said so many died on that ship. The more ended up like me, forgotten, alone. What about us? Anyhow, you got any
Hopeful stories? No, I'm going to give you a story about... I'm going to tell you the story about the cat who ate an entire pony who was his lover. Because that's still a weird-ass story.
Doesn't matter who I loved. They're all gone now. I got a big old heart with no one in it. But you know, the books...
Hopeful ones. I'm going to give you a story about the two bandits who hypnotized their victims with a song.
Leaves a warm feeling in
Damn
your
it.
chest, huh?
Damn it.
Heaven. I was drinking the night my Louisa left. Didn't notice till 2 dames and a lick of bottles later. Lost in my little slice of heaven. But you know, the books I miss the most is the hopeful ones. Got any of those?
Hopeful ones. I don't want to give you one. I'm going to give you The Devil Collecting His Debt.
I seen things 100 times worse than that, I can tell you. Freedom. Yeah, I got nothing holding me back now. Just me and the bottle and the road. Morning's here. I've got to get going. I've got more to share about what brought me to the bottom of this bottle. And you're a good one to share it with. Think of me on the road, all right?
All right. But first, story collection time. As we head back through Idaho again. Let's say, a wild story about the magically soporific song which put whole towns to sleep. You realize it's the story about the two bandits who hypnotized their victims with a song. All right. And back this way we go. I'll probably, unfortunately, end up getting him on this next run, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get more than 5 more stories out of him. Or 5 more comments on those different themes out of him. Which is my main objective. Because I could just win, right? I could just finish him off right now, but like I like listening to these people's stories. They're all really sad to some extent or another, really interesting. Go. And you. And the old man. And it's a story about the Chinese man who stays calm while encountering demons at his wedding. The story of the beautiful interracial wedding that's unaffected by evil. So there were demons at his wedding now. Interesting. Okay. And that story is told. Now, next we go to you for your story, getting 3 at a time. And over to you. Listen to this. Worked his way through the long and strange story about the cat who was aroused by the taste of flesh. Ugh. Alright. Alright, August. Let's keep talking.
You and me. Always meeting in places like this. Gutter's where I belong, ain't it? When that missile sunk my ship, I followed it down. And this is where it led. But you know, the books I miss the most is...
The hopeful ones, you say. Well, instead I'm going to give you a story of the town where grifters are ridden out of town on a rail. That's not hopeful at all.
When you've seen enough real horror in this world, cheap tales don't do it no more. Authority. I swore an oath to it. I swore to follow my superiors to the best of my ability. But what was their oath to me? Where's their loyalty when I need it? So I miss them.
Blood-pounded adventure stories. Instead, I shall tell you the story of the musician who, this farm where it was always dark and they grew mushrooms in nightshade.
I seen things 100 the past. Can't forget the night my men died, or how I would have joined them if not for my drinking making me late. But the bottle didn't bring me here. The Krauts did when they sunk my ship.
This viewers, followers, and primes on Mount Viewers. Oh, I spot a bot. 1 second. Ban user. Ban, I say.
Anyhow, you got any stories that end looking up?
Hopeful ones. No hopeful ones for you, good sir. We're going to tell you a story of the wish-granting devil that haunts the dark of the city streets.
Well, fear is cheap. I used to read. I made one choice, took my first drink. After that, I didn't have a choice. Anyhow, you got it.
Stories that end looking up. Hopeful story. The coyote with her possessed toy bone man. Either funny or scary.
Traps? Bottles got me good. But I didn't have a choice. That ship sunk me too. But you tell me.
One of the wildest things I ever saw. How about the story of the woodcutter with the mountains of Denver, which preserved voices as if in amber.
This country. Navy wouldn't have me, but the mariners would. Until they wouldn't. What's it say about a country if it breaks its people and throws them away?
That they don't care about their people.
Brothers left me. Wife and kid left me. Country left me. Spend our whole lives living for the future, never realizing that when it comes, we'll have been forgotten. Sorry, mouth is dry from all this talking. And I reckon I got nothing left to say.
Oh. Poor August. Poor August. But we did finish it. So the story of the coyote who would steal your soul as soon as you smile at her. The bones of your experience of the coyote with her possessed toy bone man. Heh, bones of the story. Heh. Good story. So what do we got next? Inventory, what do you give me? Beat up paperback with a lurid, bright cover promising adventure and more, which takes me to Seattle. Okay. But first, we're going to Jacksonville to do our round. Time to do our rounds. Oh. Time to do our rounds. Ugh. Frame rate dropped for a second. Long quick car. About the devil's soul on the lamb. It's clearly the story of the devil collecting his debt, but changed in a few entertaining ways. And that one is fully awakened. Man, I'm running out of stories to fully awaken. And August's story was really sad, and it does about the fact that this country, to some extent or another, if you are not useful to this country, it will throw you away in some aspect, or it will forget you, or it'll like pay lip service to the idea of helping you, but in reality, maybe it doesn't. And like, that's not every case. Like, there's a lot of examples of people being helped and saved, but also there's also centuries of examples of people being left behind because people couldn't be bothered. Really sad. Anyway, the sugarcane farmer who killed a cutter every night to ensure a good harvest. Takes a couple minutes, but suddenly you realize it's a story about the sugarcane farmer who took criminals from the jails and worked them in his fields until they died. Alright, that one's upgraded. Now, we go here. See, what beside you? Topic goes to a strange place, and she starts telling you about the Confederate ghost who hunts, haunts, and murders Yankees. You recognize the story of the Bushwhacker's vengeful ghost. Gotcha. There we go. And over here. After gossiping for a while about the weather, old man's story of the hotel where travelers lie awake while cursed toddler ghosts throw Satan's own tantrums. Sounds a lot like the story of the hotel haunted by the ghosts of the twin toddlers, but with some parts changed and other parts added. It grins up at you at the conclusion. Yeah. Good job. Good on you. Alright, there we go. After Stridge, workers gather a man, bucket like a king. Story about the rich man who believed he was a clown and everyone humored his belief. Realize it's the story of the eccentric banker who went to work each day dressed as a clown but heavily embellished. The young man on the bucket tells it masterfully, doing all the voices as if he'd told it 1,000 times before. Nothing close to what actually happened, but this version's pretty good. You'll have to use your time remembering it. Very good. Close across. Over to here. They want you to do a group recitation of the devil who'd sell you the world for the price of a kiss, interrupting one another. It's a story about the wish-granting devil that haunts the darks of the city streets. Here we go. And back over here. Alright, you share the bus stop with an old man. What a good story. The story of the acoustic utopia Denver, where echoes bounce for over 100 years, confusing himself now and again. It's a twisted version of the story about the mountains of Denver, which preserves voices as if in amber, though massively changed. Alright. So many stories awakening. I think I got 8 people left to talk to. Story about the lawless town where outsiders are murdered after dark. It's a story of the town where grifters are ridden out of town on a rail, with some bits changed. Yep. We'll go over here. Loop line. After a while, the topic changed to the story of the trapped ghost who would turn on any old faucet. You recognize it as a story about the vulgar ghost trapped in the bottle. Not exciting, but oh well. Okay, yay, all of them are done. Alright. Let's see. There's Tiger. All these are done now. So I just gotta make sure to focus on doing these 2 next. Or whoever I talk to next. Chinese Ghost. For the underground network of communist metalworkers. And magically soporific song, which puts whole towns to sleep. Apple orchard planter who planted 10,000 trees, also known as Johnny Appleseed. Cat aroused by the taste of flesh, or the killer pigeons. Let's see, WPA worker. Good still. That one's still good. Devil would sell you the world for the price of a kiss. Vigilantes who would hunt grave robbers across the Midwest. Devil's soul on the lamb for man who jumped to his death from a train. Oh man, I really fucked up Ray's because like I could have gotten so much more of Ray's story, but I still got a good amount. Like he was a cowboy, and he's a cowboy in a time when being a cowboy doesn't really help you with much or allow you to do much. Melody Ghosts. Children struck mute by La Llorona. Acoustic Utopia, Denver. The children who kill adults to protect a secret. Confederate Ghost for the cursed smoker who haunts those who travel alone. Coyote for the ghost of the well-heeled hobo. The Lawless Town for the shootout between the female bootleggers and the cops. And then the farm where it's always night. Okay, all these ones I think should be fine for the next rotation. All these ones too. All right, so Coolito, if you're, I'm gonna let you think about it for a second because I'm curious what you think. Let's see. Okay, so I need to decide what area of the U.S. I'm going to focus on next. So we have a couple options. I could meet with Cassidy the poet up in the Midwest area around Illinois, Wisconsin, and hear about beat poets and like poetry and all that stuff and his own looking for love. I could head to Tennessee to meet up with Althea the blues singer and Shaw the sharecropper and see their stories about, I'm guessing because she's a blues singer, she probably sold her soul to the devil. And Shaw the sharecropper, that's already just a sad story just by the name of it, because sharecropping post-Civil War, that was yikes. I could talk about Rocio, the migrant worker from Central America who came here for work. There's Feliadad, the curandera, who heals people. And there's Bertha, who came to the West seeking, like, Grapes of Wrath style, trying to look for a new life. And then there's Dahaya up here, who is like a also a medicine woman, but from a different Native American tribe. And her tribe got fucked over. I think she's part of the Trail of Tears, if I remember correctly. But, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories left to tell. So the question now is, do I want to... Actually, well, let's look at the progress I have for some of these. So, Chapter 1, Chapter 1, Chapter 1, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, so I could get to Haya's out of the way at next quicker. Chapter 1, Chapter 2. So I have Rocio as well at Chapter 2. So I can go after both. I think, honestly... How do I get to her? How do I get to her again? Dahaya is up in Wyoming, and there's like no good spots in Wyoming, honestly. Well, I could take the train to South Dakota. Okay, I'll take the train to South Dakota and then to go from there. So let's take this train over here. I think it's over here. How do I get to it? Is it? Yeah, it's in Birmingham, I think. But that should take me all the way to South Dakota, and then from there I can walk over to where Dahaya is next time. Am I going the right direction? Yes, I am. Okay. Hopefully I don't get killed on the way. Oops. Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, yeah, that's Atlanta, not Birmingham. All right, up we go. Yep. So, no, that's not the correct train line, I don't think. Oh, no, I need to go all the way up to Missouri if I want that. Ugh. You know what? Let's deal with Rocio. Let's go talk to Rocio then. We're gonna be in that area This one takes us directly to Rokio's general area, so let's just go there. New Orleans short line. Top of the strange, just to sneak out. Huzzah! Wait, that didn't take me where I wanted to go either. Damn it. That take me all the way to South Dakota? The one near Russia take me all the way to South Dakota then? It does, I think. Okay. Well, that makes my life a bit easier if I can get that going. So now I just need to hitchhike across. Let's hitchhike down the road a bit. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, car. There's another car. I know there's another car. There you go. Oh, come on. Wow. Dicks. Hey, yo, you. There we go. Take me along for a bit. Here we go. Alright, don't have to do that stupid-ass minigame. Going straight through the bayous and the Gulf. All right. I got me pretty close. I'm going to actually go ahead of Rocio to, I think that's Austin, Texas, farther down. I'm going to go to Austin, Texas first, just to, so I'm in the, so I, like, revive at this general area again. Because last time I ended up in Jackson. I ended up not, like, saving or something in Jackson, and it just made it so I had to, like, come back and do some stuff. So... I actually cannot remember what stories Rocio's heard, so... But I don't think I'm gonna get much from her there. But don't worry, I'll be back for you. I'm actually just curious. I'm not gonna actually take it, but... Where does it go? Sunshine Special, okay. Is that the one I would have wanted? Yes, it looks like it. But let's go to San Antonio. Let's see. Earn some money. Panhandle. Buy me food. Bad luck today. As you go up the street, however, you come off motion inside the restaurant. The lady's paid her check, and now she's bustling to the door. Being like across the street right for you. Can't tell if she's excited to help you or pissed that you're here, but she slaps a pile of coins in your hand, starts machine gunning you with questions. What's your name? Who's your mother? Why are you just like this? Why are you here? Man, please. She glares at you like a hawk from a rat caught in his talons. You look exactly like someone I know, she growls, maintaining eye contact for much too long. Exactly. And with that, she turns on her heels and storms away. Strange. General's at least, but very strange. Yep. Now, that sounds about like my life. I'll buy a cola. Alright. Alright, so, I actually know. Ooh, okay. Give me way more options that way. Interesting.